There's a new Pixel in town. I'm talking about the Google Pixel 10 Pro. If the regular Google Pixel isn't enough for you, will you find the features you're looking for with the Pro model? I'm Will Gove for GSM Arena, and let's see what the Pixel 10 Pro is all about in our full review. Just as we saw with last year's model, the Pixel 10 Pro fits the premium features of the Pro XL model into a smaller and more pocketable form factor. The similarities with last year's model don't stop there. As far as upgrades go, the new Pixel Pro doesn't introduce too much. What you do get this time around is a new Tensor chipset, which is meant to be more capable when it comes to AI and camera processing. Also, there's now Qi2 magnetic wireless charging. The design of the Pixel 10 Pro is more or less unchanged compared to the previous generation. You get the visor-like rear camera styling, a flat back protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and a glossy aluminum frame. While the phone is smaller than the XL, it isn't that light, weighing in at 207 grams. Google has also kept the same distinction between the Pro and the non-Pro. The higher tier model features a frosted back with a glossy frame, while the vanilla Pixel is the reverse. The two phones are about the same size though. And for ingress protection, the Pixel 10 Pro is IP68 rated against dust and water. The display of the phone is much the same as last year. It's a 6.3-inch LTPO OLED panel with a high resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The Pixels remain some of the brightest phones on the market. We measured the 10 Pro's screen to about 1400 nits with the manual brightness slider, and this can boost to 2350 nits in auto mode. Legibility out in the sun is no problem here. The screen looks great overall, as expected. It's extra sharp, contrasty, and there's support for HDR10+ video playback. There's also support for displaying Ultra HDR compliant images, with dramatic highlights. The 120Hz refresh rate makes your swiping and scrolling appear extra smooth, and thanks to the LTPO tech, this is extra adaptive, able to dial from 120Hz down to 1Hz, and everything in between. For audio, the Pixel 10 Pro has a pair of stereo speakers. They have very good loudness, and the sound quality is very good too. Vocals sound nice, and there's a good amount of low end. You can listen for yourself through a comparison tool linked below. For biometrics, the phone has an under-display ultrasonic fingerprint reader. It's nicely placed, and unlocks the phone in a flash. The Pixel 10 Pro has a base 128GB storage tier, and that's UFS 3.1. The higher 256, 512, and TB options have faster UFS 4.0 storage. That isn't expandable through memory card. The new Pixels come with Android 16 out of the box, and it's stock Android, the way Google intended. One thing you may notice is that the animations in the UI are smoother and more flashy. That's thanks to the new Material 3 Expressive UI packed within Android 16. Another change is that the notification shade has a live update section. This is a space that showcases the status of things like food delivery, navigation, and timers. Also, notifications from individual apps are grouped to make your notification shade less cluttered. The Pixels also have something called Magic Queue. Google's AI tracks your information between your apps, emails, and conversations, and it can call up info you need when you need it. For example, it could pull up an address for a meeting you planned when a friend messages you asking about it. Gemini Live isn't unique to the Pixels, but Google claims that the Pixels have an improved language model for more expressive conversations. There is a camera coach feature, where the AI guides you within the camera app on how to take the best photo in the situation. And there's also a new AI photo editing tool, where you just describe what you want to change or remove and the AI will take care of it, but the feature only works for users in the USA. And for software support, Google promises 7 years to the new Pixels. Let's get into the chipset. The Pixel 10 series phones all use the new Tensor G5, made in-house by Google. It promises not just better performance when it comes to the CPU and graphics, but also better AI processing and a more powerful ISP for camera processing. Despite these improvements though, in benchmarks, the Pixel 10 Pro still sits far behind other current Android flagships that run the latest Dimensity or Snapdragon chips. It's not like the performance is awful. When using the phone, it doesn't feel sluggish, but snappy and fluid. But as far as raw power goes, the competition does it better. The Pixel 10 Pro's thermal management leaves more to be desired as well. In our prolonged stress tests, the phone underwent significant throttling, down to around 40% of its max CPU performance. This year's Pixel Pro has a slightly larger battery. It's 4870 mAh compared to 4700 on the previous model. However, despite that, the battery life is considerably worse this time around. The results in all tests were lower, and below average for 2025, and that resulted in an overall active use score of just 9 hours and 53 minutes. Google rates the Pixel 10 Pro for 30-watt charging, and no charger comes with the phone. With a 30-watt compatible adapter, we were able to charge the phone from 0 to 45% in half an hour, and a full charge took an hour and 40 minutes. All in all, pretty underwhelming. At least this year we've gotten an upgrade to Qi2 wireless charging capability. It's even compatible with Apple's MagSafe. It's only 15 watts here compared to 25 watts on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, but the charging time is about the same. But while the wireless charging has been improved, reverse wireless charging has been removed this time around. And now the cameras. The setup on the Pixel 10 Pro is carried over from the previous generation, basically unchanged. On the back, you again get a 50-megapixel main cam, as well as a 5x zoom camera and autofocusing ultra-wide, both at 48 megapixels. During the day, photos from the main cam come out very good, with the signature pixel processing producing likable contrast and colors. High-frequency details such as foliage and even buildings in the distance are not rendered very naturally, but the results overall are noticeably sharper than what you get out of the vanilla Pixel 10. Photos of people are also quite nice, with lively skin tones. There is a minor tendency for smoothing out facial detail though. The portrait mode shots are decent, though the strength of the artificial blur may be a bit much at times. 2x zoom shots from the main cam are okay, but they're a bit softer than what we'd expect from a flagship camera. People shots at 2x look even sketchier in terms of detail. Perhaps the difference between your expectations and the resolved detail in the photos is just more noticeable when you're looking at faces. In low light, the Pixel 10 Pro's main cam takes photos that are good, but not really class-leading. Colors are looking great, and dynamic range is good overall, but the detail has an overly digital rendition. The photos are only slightly sharper than what we saw from the vanilla Pixel 10, and we expected more of a difference from the larger sensor here. And now the 5x zoom from the telephoto cam. It takes good photos overall. They remain likable and maintain that pixel character. Detail is good, but not as crisp as on the main camera. And this camera has a rather artificial rendition of foliage. Photos of people do look solid at 5x. If you're a fan of this sort of framing and perspective, you'll appreciate the results, even if the sharpness is a bit less than ideal. At 10x, where digital zoom is involved, things aren't looking great, but there's a relatively acceptable semblance of detail. One hidden feature of this telephoto cam is that its minimum focusing distance is shorter than last year. That means it's possible to take close-ups with it. However, for some reason the autofocus won't focus close. You instead have to go into manual focus and fiddle around, potentially leading to a blurry result. These shots in the end aren't the sharpest, but they can come out decent. At night, the telephoto camera's results aren't the sharpest around either, but they do still offer reasonable quality. The white balance is mostly accurate, and dynamic range is good. The Pixel 10 Pro's ultra-wide camera does a good job, but we expected a bit better sharpness. The colors and contrast are solid and appear to be aligned with the main camera. However, the photos can be a little soft in the shadows. The ultra-wide's photos at night are in average territory. There's okay sharpness and noise levels are acceptable, and the dynamic range is pretty good for this sort of camera. Like last year, selfies come from a 42-megapixel front-facing cam which has autofocus. They look great. There's a super wide field of view, and the shots come out plenty sharp. Skin tones are lively, and colors in general are great. Dynamic range is top class too. The Pixel 10 Pro records videos natively in up to 4K resolution at 60 FPS with all of its cameras. The main camera's output is among the better ones out there. Detail is nice and sharp, and it's rendered well. Colors have a nice pop, and the white balance is dependable too. 5x zoom footage is detailed, but has a soft and dreamy quality to it. The ultra-wide camera's 4K clips are about as good as on other current high-end phones. Not too bad, but nothing groundbreaking. Electronic stabilization works well to smooth out the footage. There is a little bit of jitter left over, noticeable while walking. And in the dark, the Pixel 10 Pro does a good job. The main camera's footage is quite competitive. 5x zoom clips at night are somewhat soft, but still usable. And the ultra-wide's nighttime clips come out nice and detailed, with great contrast and colors. So that's the Pixel 10 Pro. Google didn't add many new features this year. What you get is the full Qi2 wireless charging support, which now makes it compatible with MagSafe accessories too. You also get the premium build, bright screen, and great cameras that we enjoyed in the previous model. However, there are also some issues left unresolved, like the slow charging, and the chipset which is less powerful than the competition. And on top of that, the battery life is considerably worse this year. With all this considered, unless you're dead set on Google's software experience, it's tough to recommend the Pixel 10 Pro. You can find better value in competing camera phones. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for alternatives, you can check out our reviews of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.